Hive Treasure Wars and CUBECRAFT Egg Wars. These two are the most popular Bed Wars type game modes on Minecraft Bedrock. And so in today's video, we're going to be comparing them. I'm sure we've all played Minecraft Bed Wars at one point or another, and I'd go as far to say that it may be the biggest game mode and the most popular game mode in the history of Minecraft. But obviously, this means that a lot of different servers have added their own twist to it. For example, here on the Hive, we have Treasure Wars, where you have to defend, well, the treasure. Whereas CUBECRAFT went with a slightly different approach, and they have a game mode called Egg Wars. So speaking of Egg Wars, let's play a game or two while I discuss all the positives and the negatives of their Bed Wars game. First up, I'd say CUBECRAFT's game is a little bit more complex, and perhaps a little bit harder for new players to understand. However, obviously that comes with some positives. For example, it means that obviously if you play the game a lot, you can really begin to master these mechanics and take advantage of knowing more than the average player. Another thing that I certainly noticed straight off the bat was that their maps are generally more crowded than the Hive's. I mean, I've had to use barely any terracotta to get to the enemy's base here. Another thing is that their Egg Wars has kits. For example, the Baker Kit, which I'm going to choose for this game. It's just another one of them features that sets them apart slightly from their competition, but definitely some people will like it more than others. And so it's just another example of how CUBECRAFT's version of Treasure Wars is just a lot more complex than the Hive's. Now, I'm personally not too big of a fan of that. I actually really like how easily accessible and easily understandable the Hive's Treasure Wars game mode is. Even the menus are just a little bit more complicated to navigate, and it's things like these that can really be a game changer for a lot of players, especially new players who haven't played the game that much. But that is only a quarter of the story here. By the way, just to give you an idea of the popularity of these game modes, this is the difference of their play counts. So Egg Wars on CUBECRAFT has 6,349 players playing right now. And as for the Hive minigames Treasure Wars, they have 4,200 players playing right now. One of the final features that I forgot to mention on the CUBECRAFT was the more OP items that they offer. That's right, not only do they offer more loot for you to choose, some of that loot that they offer is a lot more OP than the ones that you find on the Hive. But that being said, is this really a good thing? I've spent most of this video so far going over CUBECRAFT and saying how much they offer inside of Egg Wars. But do they perhaps offer too much? Is it a bit too complex and cramped together? Now, while a lot of this is personal preference, in my opinion, I prefer the more basic loot pool on the Hive's Treasure Wars. By the way, I've seen loads of people disagree with me, and I'm sure some of you guys will as well. So the final thing that I want to cover in this video is something that I mentioned briefly earlier on. And that is just how hard and overwhelming it is for the new players of CUBECRAFT to get used to Egg Wars, and its insanely large loot pool. For example, on the Hive, it's nice and simple. We've got the blocks here, armor, weapons, tools, specials. And then inside the weapons, for example, there's only 5 things that you can select. Not the like 60 that the CUBECRAFT offer. Obviously, the Hive do still offer some special items like snowballs and knockback boomboxes and ender pearls, but a lot of it is really easy to understand and grasp, and I think that's something that the Hive excel in. Not only in Treasure Wars, but in just their game modes in general. And finally, I want to bring up one more feature that will annoy the hell out of the Hive community. Now, obviously, on Treasure Wars, when you die, you lose your sword, etc., but you don't lose your armor. Whereas when you die in Egg Wars, you lose everything, including your armor, which ends up making you spend a lot more time in the Egg Wars shop and waste your precious resources. And so you're probably thinking, GM, what is your verdict on this? Do you prefer Egg Wars or Treasure Wars? Well, my friends, no surprise, I prefer Treasure Wars. I tried not to show any favoritism in this video, but I honestly believe that Treasure Wars is the way forward, especially if you're a new player.